Browns back on the practice field on a snowy day here in Berea. They did practice indoors, though, staying out of the conditions. They will travel to Pittsburgh to play the Steelers on Sunday. But the day started with some good news for Denzel Ward, who is having probably his best season as a pro, and now Mary Kay. He is the Browns nominee for the Walter Payton Man of the Year award.
Yes, good for Denzel. He really, really deserves this. This has everything to do with his Make Them Know Your Name Foundation, which is in honor of his father who passed away when Denzel was a freshman at Ohio State. And it's all about preventing the same types of heart fatalities that their family suffered. He does so much in the community. It's been so great. They put defibrillators in schools, organizations. They teach people how to do CPR. He's so committed to it, and this is just another way for him to get honored for it.
And the second time, Ashley, that he's been nominated for this award.
Yeah, and even this offseason, I remember talking to Denzel a little bit about this down at the Greenbrier, him and his mom going down to Columbus to advocate for House Bill 47 to get more AEDs in schools and things like that. So really, we've seen firsthand, I think, Denzel really mature and grow up here. And obviously, if you're an Ohio State fan, you know about his time there as well. So definitely well deserved. And I think it's really fitting that maybe his best individual year on the field, he's also getting this honor as well for all the work he does.
Now, Jameis Winston spoke today. He did not once again ask to be delivered from pick sixes, but Mary Kay, he did talk about those interceptions, those mistakes he made, and kind of how he learns from those mistakes to try and get better.
Yeah, the big takeaway from Jameis today was the fact that he does not want to be defined by interceptions. He's been down this road before. You guys remember, we all remember the year in 2019 when he threw for 33 touchdowns and a league high also 30 interceptions. That ranks number 7 in NFL history. He doesn't want to be that guy. He's worked so hard to put that behind him, to put that in the rearview mirror, and then he goes out and gets the pick sixes in Denver, and he knows it wrecked the game, and he does not want to be that guy anymore. He's determined to shut that down.
And, you know, there's so much talk about risk, right? You want to take calculated risks, and he talked a little bit about that. You want to be aggressive, but you also don't want to make that big mistake.
Yeah, that's what's hard, right? I think if you have Jameis Winston as your quarterback, the big benefit to having him is some of the risks he takes that lead to a bunch of explosive passing plays. But the negative is sometimes those risks come with those interceptions. So I think now at this point in his career, 10 years in, like, it's just kind of a part of who he is. It's why he struggled some earlier in his career. And I know he's talked about working with Sean Payton in New Orleans and Drew Brees, how that changed him. But to some extent, I don't think if you're Jameis Winston, you are ever going to fully be that far away from some interceptions.
Now, of course, one of the things we'll be watching this week is George Pickens and how the Browns match up with him. We all remember how the last game ended with George Pickens and Greg Newsome pinned against the wall, fighting each other after that Hail Mary. Neither player was fined for that, but Mary Kay, last week, George Pickens, more penalties. Mike Tomlin has openly discussed how he's got to be able to control himself. I'm sure the Browns are going to try to get under his skin, but that is really the big thing to watch. Not just how does George Pickens react to the Browns, but how do they react to him?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a focal point in the game. Mike Tomlin came out and said he has got to grow up. And we know, of course, that George Pickens, after that game, said, I don't think the Cleveland Browns are that good. I think it was the weather. And, of course, we know that that is all over the imaginary billboard in their minds, and that they are going to use that as motivation for this football game. There's no question about that. Just even the fight that those guys had, I think that will be part of it. Chippiness could be a byproduct of this football game. And as Bubba Ventrone said today, the message to these players is don't do dumb stuff.
Yeah, no need to use the bleep there. Mary Kay cleaned it up for us. But Ashley, look, this is kind of a worst case scenario for the Steelers because the last thing you want to do is have a 3-9 football team be extra motivated to play you when you're playing to try and win the AFC North title still.
Yeah, I said that when George Pickens came out after that first game, and flat out said, I don't think the Browns are a good team at all, was actually, like, he doubled down on it mid-sentence. I was shocked just because it's more bulletin board material, and we know the Steelers have given the Browns that over the years. Obviously, the Browns is the Browns, being maybe the most famous one, and it hasn't worked out for them. So I was not really that surprised to hear Mike Tomlin say, as Mary Kay said, that he needs to do some growing up here really quickly, and teams are going to go after him because he's George Pickens. But Martin Emerson Jr., Greg Newsome had some stuff to say about that comment in particular. I just wrote about it. They didn't want to go too into detail about how they're using it for bulletin board material, but I think it's really clear that it bothered these Browns DBs, and they certainly have remembered it 2 weeks later.
Okay, well, we will cover everything that happens between now and the game, and then, of course, everything that happens in Pittsburgh at cleveland.com/Browns.